he didn't even check me. We didn't even get in the room. He said, let's call the doctor now or the ambulance to cross you over back to unit care. Fine. I went and I collapsed. Just, I think, few hours. That time, that baby weighed 400 grams and 90, I think the size of a margarine. He said he drove with the midwife, the aunt, because that situation, right.
Let me introduce to you the new kid on the block. Mel La Vie is a new skincare range that recently launched. It is for face and for body. We deal with hyperpigmentation, anti-aging, wrinkles, natural glow. We also deal with dark inner areas. We target dark inner thighs, dark armpits, dark neck, dark elbows, dark knees, you name it. We also have a shaving combo. This shaving combo deals with ingrowns and shaving bumps. Both men and women can use this good quality product shaving range. We've got good actives in our product from glycolic acid, hyaluronic acid, kojic acid, and many more. You can contact us on the WhatsApp number that is popping on the screen, or you can reach out to us on all our social media platforms. We are here for all your skin needs. Hi everyone, this is O Narrative Podcast by myself, Promise Magunyana. This podcast, it's about marriage and family dynamics. I actually get very, after I shoot this one and I'm coming this one, now I'm like, oh, what am I going to say? So this particular podcast is about marriage and family dynamics. And we do have a sister podcast. It's called The Working Wife, The Working Woman podcast. That podcast is really about women working, women doing it for themselves. I always say it's good to have a man do stuff for you, but it's much more better if you can also do stuff for yourself. You can also be in marriage, outside marriage, career woman, business woman. You can be a nanny, you can be an admin lady, whatever that you are. That particular podcast is just about women inspiring each other. And this one is about marriage and family dynamics, and it airs every Wednesdays at 1 p.m. The other podcast, our sister podcast, The Working Wife, The Working Woman, airs on Sundays at 6 p.m. Guys, take this moment to subscribe. You know I'm trying to reach 100K. We are about 89, about 90 maybe when you watch this. I'm trying to get to 100K, guys. Please get me there. It's absolutely free for you to just click the subscribe button. Let it say subscribed. You are not being charged anything. I know maybe with subscription, you might be thinking that you're going to be charged. You're being charged nothing, but it makes it better for me to create content because obviously all these things, it's money, you know. We pay and. But anyway, I know you guys are going to do me good. Click the subscribe button and let's get into the conversation of today. I am with a very beautiful lady who has chatted all her way. Like we've been chatting ever since. Are you a chatterbox? Do you talk? Do you love talking?
I absolutely love talking. I enjoy having conversations. Yes, that's me.
Yeah, I also enjoy having conversations, and I could see when I was like trying to be on my phone and you'll be talking and I'm like, this is me. This one is me. Like you love talking and I love talking myself.
Yeah.
And that's how I started a podcast actually. I love conversations.
That's wonderful. And oftentimes people mistaken chatterboxes to not be good listeners, but it's not true.
Yeah.
We can listen, we can hear, and we can process. And we can respond. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for making time for us and for saying yes. We know that you are working, you know, by busy lady, but you giving us time. We appreciate time more than anything.
That's lovely. Thank you for having me on this platform. I already feel comfortable and I already feel welcome.
Do you want to tell people who you are, what you do?
Yes. So I can introduce myself. So my name is Puseletso and I'm a mom of two. I always say a mom of two, even though my first daughter is late, but she will always be remembered. So I'm still her mom. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
And also I'm a career woman. I just recently went back into corporate and it's a lot.
Gail, how did you get yourself back to corporate? We're trying to run away from corporate.
I know, but I had just gotten to a place of feeling like I want to be, you know, on a thrill again. I want to be in a fast-paced environment. But I don't know what I signed up for. But so far, I'm adjusting. I'm adjusting well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you married?
I'm happily married. Oh, I love marriage. I love marriage. Absolutely, absolutely. It's been 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And, it's been amazing. It's got its challenges.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful that we are able to meet each other halfway.
Love that.
Yeah.
And you spoke that you went back to corporate. What were you doing? Were you a housewife?
I wish. I wish. That's my ultimate goal. Okay. There's nothing to be ashamed of being, desiring to end up being a housewife. It's also a lot, actually. Shout out to housewives. It's a job on its own. So I wasn't a housewife. So I did work in corporate before in my early days of, my career. But fortunately enough, I don't even know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately, when COVID hit, sure, like employment was a privilege.
Yes.
So I was fortunate enough to have moved and been absorbed into government. So I was working for government, particularly a local municipality.
Okay.
And I'll never look down on government. In fact, I appreciate my time being there because it has taught me so much. I understand the traditional ways of doing business or being professional, but it's very different from corporate. So I went back. It was very relaxed. It was not fast-paced.
Very relaxed.
But we did get the job done. But because you've already seen
the kind of
I've got
person you
personality. I felt bored. I felt unchallenged, if for lack of a better word. Then I thought, let me see if I'm still marketable. Let me put my CV out there. And I did. By the grace of God, a company absorbed me. And it's work I love. It's work I studied for.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm there now. And I'm also very grateful. I don't know how long I'll be there.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that I'll be there long enough to learn and bring value.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you speak about government, I did my in-service training back in the years. I studied public relations management.
Yeah.
And I did my in-service training at our local municipality back home.
Yeah.
So I hear you when you're saying things are relaxed to that side.
Yeah,
there's just traditional ways of doing things.
Yes.
If you're just fresh from university, I don't advise you to go to government. I don't know if it's just local government or all government.
Yeah.
But no. Maybe when you are in your 60s, I would go there just to relax a bit because things there are a bit relaxed than if you are a, go-getter. No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. Absolutely.
So tell me about your upbringing. We're going to go into the reason why you're here, but we just want to get you like where, you know. Tell me about your upbringing. Where did you grow up? Parents, family dynamic.
Okay.
And so forth.
Oh, I haven't been asked this question in a long time. But if I tap back into my childhood, I grew up in an only female home and on my mother's side.
Yeah.
But as I was raised, I did have the chances and opportunities to still be with my father's side of the family. So it was mixed.
Yeah.
There were uncles, borangwani, boramogolo, but it wasn't for long. And I was still very young. But more so, I've been much more exposed into the female side of the family.
Yeah.
So I was basically raised by my aunts, my late mom, and my grandmother as well, right? So my father was there, but in between. So yeah, I was raised as an only child as well. I actually don't have siblings from my mom's side, only from my dad, but it's only also one girl. So I was raised as an only child. I can't really say it was not nice. I got everything I wanted.
I'm sure.
My mom really spoiled me. I don't really know why my mom didn't want to have any more kids, but we had this conversation when I was already in varsity, and she was like, I'm really absolutely fine with just having you. And I never wanted to, ask why. But I think I only started to understand why only after she had passed, right? So, so growing up, my grandmother was a teacher, so she advocated for education, right?
Sure.
So it's in school, whether I liked it or not, I had to be a child. By the way, I forgot to say I'm saved and I'm proud to be saved when I introduce
Jesus
myself.
girl.
Yeah, I'm definitely sold out for Christ. So anyway, to cut the long story short, I did go to school. It's only like the multiracial schools, not private, but Kotropong, and there was never a gap. I never felt like I'm like short, We were an average family, like moderate. We could afford because everybody nabereka, my aunts. But my mom had to sacrifice a lot. She was the firstborn. She had to sacrifice a lot for her siblings so that they could go to school and so that she can help my grandmother. She felt like she was the deputy parent. And I think that's because their father passed away early as well. But I was a baby. I was a small baby. I can't really recall memories with him. Yeah, so I grew up fairly well. And I had opportunity to go to university. There's no educational gaps. And I'm glad they tried. They were my tribe. They made sure that I become the woman I am today.
Lovely.
Thank you so much for asking that question. Actually,
yeah. And I'm seeing you as you are explaining. I always say it's always good to go back into yourself and reflect. I can understand how you are feeling. Now speaking about your past, how you grew up.
Yeah,
it's very. I don't know the word, but it's just so I always feel good when somebody says I must tell them about how I grew up or
Yeah, it taps a little bit back into your life and touches the parts where you're like, wow, actually, I remember this, And there's childhood memories, there's childhood traumas, and there's good things to remember, bad things, but also they shape you up to become who you ultimately want to be.
So le go letsa koko basically.
Re letsa ga koko, yes. Ko Seshego,
Zone 1.
Ko Zone 1, Gaufile Stadium.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm a township girl.
Yes. So your aunts, didn't they have kids? How are the cousin?
You know what? I'm actually the first eldest granddaughter. Sure, and the pressure.
Are you the first eldest granddaughter?
Yes.
Your mother is the
My
firstborn.
mother's the firstborn, yeah. I can see why because now we are exposed to in-laws that have 8, 9 kids, and I'm just like, wow, we are such a small family. What happened,
Yes.
But it started with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. She's still alive. Thank God for that. She did say that I married young at 18, and obviously back then, comparing to now, things were not very advanced. Marriage, but she was able to manage her own life, I guess, because she was a teacher. She said she always wanted to be a teacher. So she also didn't have any boys. So Puseletso ON. Yes, but as I grew, as we became spiritually, mature, and I realized my name means restoration.
Ooh.
Yes, for whatever reason. But anyway, it that was what it meant to me as I grew. But to my mom, to my aunt Ibile Puseletso Abasadi, and then my aunts by two, they're still alive, married as well. Bona bana le bana, my eldest aunt una le bana by 4, and then my youngest aunt una le bana by 2. Yes, so
you're such a small family.
There's a big gap also age ya ka le bona. So they look up to me. That's why I'm saying there's so much pressure because I don't want to disappoint them.
Yes.
I'm the mirror, I'm the role model because obviously our parents didn't all do so well.
Yeah.
But at least I'm there to say, you know what, I can break other generational curses. I can be the first, to show them that it's not impossible to make it in life. Yeah, so all together re feleletse re the grandkids take 4, 1 na
2,
and then 2. So that's a total of 8. Yeah. Yes.
That's about you. So
Yes.
you speak about your mom being 8.
Yes.
But then I heard you speaking about when you were in university, you had the conversation with your mom.
Yes.
Why she didn't have, she only had you.
Yeah.
How I'm just imagining losing your mom when you are that old.
It was very difficult, right? So I was doing my 3rd year when she passed away. This was in 2015. It sounds like it's far back, but with loss, every time you remember.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's yesterday because the feelings are there. The feelings, are real.
Alive.
So yeah, I was doing my third year. But you know what? Thank God she was able to celebrate my first graduation. Oh, it was so nice. I remember that actually because Linda, I was looking forward to it. So ke dirile national diploma from in 2011, Kafeta 2015, and then I graduated. She was there and she was so happy.
Yeah.
My grandmother was there, her mom, and my aunts were there. Lebo Mamorulu, so I started go UJ.
Yeah.
And then obviously I decided, let me further my studies and do a BTech degree. And that's what I call my third year. Yeah, because I was in an extended program. So the national diploma was plus minus 2.5 years. Yeah. So I was a full-time student and that was the year I lost her. But by the grace of God, when I lost her, I was like, am I going to continue studying? But I was like, let me do it for her. So it was hard, but I'm not going to lie. I was surrounded by good lecturers and they knew me. So they knew what I was capable of academically. So I was academically strong. I had achievements in university.
Oh, wow.
Unlike in high school. I don't know why that's the case, but I think in varsity is because I was studying what I wanted to study.
Yes.
And I don't know why it's always like that. Eh?
I think maybe because in varsity you are studying one thing. Like they give medical science, what. So there it's like you're just focusing on, if it's law, it's just law subjects.
Yeah.
So there is just a mixture of everything, and that's why we like this system, education system will make children think they're dumb, but it's just doing everything all at once.
Yeah, because if I recall, I wasn't the brightest, but neither was I the lowest. I was just average. I think kuku
Ma'am.
are thuto bana ba ka, but today ke bona molemo wa yona. So yeah. So my lecturers were like, we say we can't and back to funeral. They left Gauteng. But we can't leave her to not write exams. I was like, oh, am I going to make it? It was nerve-wracking. But I also had a school therapist, psychiatrist. So ban 2 seats, even though I didn't see them right away, because with grief has its stages, and rest in the school premises. That helped a lot because you don't know what a lot of things happen outside school.
Yeah.
And as a girl child, I could have confined it or found comfort in the wrong places. But fortunate enough, no, that was not the case. So lecturers talk about the verbal exam or oral. I almost cum laude my retake, but just 2%. But that was still something. It counted for something, and I'm glad that it was a victory because it's like after that we healed.
Yeah.
And I was like, this one is for my mom. So then fast forward to that, then so independence I was healing. It's not explainable, but when you lose a parent, I feel outside of therapy, outside of support.
Can I please have a tissue?
Yeah, because it's very emotional.
Yes.
But I'm strong now.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm human. I get emotional.
No, that's your mom.
That's my mom.
That's your mom.
So outside of all of these things, it's very important to not lose yourself, number one, and from grief.
Yeah.
And also, it's also in the same breath important to find meaning to life.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, a lot of people commit suicide.
Yeah.
After they lose either parents or just a loved one. And when that's the case, thank you so much. Like everything just gets affected. Like not just you, but everything that concerns you.
Sorry,
So I think I was fortunate enough to be strong enough to say I'm gonna live.
Yeah.
And I did.
And you did.
I did. And people would ask me, how do you do it? Why are you always happy? I chose to be.
When Puse, I'm so sorry,
I'm so sorry, but I just thought it is important because
Yeah.
we're here to speak about you being a mom. One of the things that I wanted to ask
Yes.
was about your mom and the
Yes.
relationship you had with
I
your
had
mom.
with her. It was amazing. Oh, she was such a bubbly woman. And I think half of my personality I took from her. She was loud.
Yeah.
She was loud. There was never a dull moment when she was around. And Narata di party, like she wanted to celebrate. And I think that's how I am. I love celebrations. Even if you call me Warim, you know, wana how
Yeah.
upasije skolong, you
Or
know.
reka something,
I'm gonna buy something and be like,
celebrate.
re celebrating, arreke keke. Let's go, because life will teach you to cherish moments and little achievements. Like those things build like barking momentum for you. They'll encourage you to be grateful. Because in our society now, we are really not grateful enough.
Always complaining.
We are not. We are always complaining. You know why? Because we want more. But are you willing to work for more?
We're always chasing.
We are always chasing, and it's to a certain point. It has greed.
Yeah.
Because when can you ever stop? Yeah, but I'm glad. I'm just glad for every season, every experience,
Yeah.
every encounter, because it made me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we are moving away from your childhood and your relationship you had with your mom, I just want to know, what is one thing that your mom's passing has taught you?
One thing. Sure. It has taught me, number one, to be grateful.
Yeah.
I'll always reiterate that. It has taught me to be grateful first for little things. Things that people think don't matter are the things that actually matter most. One of them being time.
Who?
Time. Time cannot be replaced. Time cannot be recycled enough. And time, is lost opportunity if you don't make use of it wisely. Yes, we can say there's never enough time, but the real question is, do you make it? Do you make time? And if so, how do you make it? Is it worth sacrificing and putting things aside? And so that one of the greatest things is just gratefulness, and making time for yourself as well, because I don't think if I didn't make time for myself, I wouldn't have healed. Because when was I going to go for therapy?
Yeah.
When was I going to say I'm going to finish my studies? When was it was all because I needed to make time.
Love that. Anyway, I would just listen to you, speak and speak and speak and speak. Tell me, you get married 3 years
Yes.
ago,
Yes.
and you start having children, or you had children and you get married.
Yeah.
You started having children and you got married,
No, I got married first.
and then
I think I was scared of having children. Maybe it's also a generational thing, because then I asked myself why didn't I see children? Like, not that I didn't ever want to have them, but they were never in my mind.
in your mind. Was marriage in your mind though?
A lot. And because Kirata love.
Yes.
Nah, I love. My friends know. Even my friends that were married and now are divorced, I always tell them that, you know what, you won't die alone. You can't die, and I can't let you.
Yes.
But no, I must
Kisha
heal. I must heal.
kalenjalo.
Yes, you must heal, but sometimes we need to know when to differentiate between. You must be honest with yourself, So Kirata love and and there's nothing wrong with being single, but just don't stay single forever. There's nothing wrong with having a companion, and even if marriage doesn't come, there's absolutely no reason for you to not want a life partner.
Yeah.
Mudimu, he has his own way, and rebatu remolefasing. Even in the Bible, you can't be alone. No man is an island. Nakrata love, and I wanted to get married, but I knew that marriage will come with work. I knew that marriage will come with the expectation of starting a family. In fact, that's the the purpose of marriage,
yes.
because
Reproduction.
it's a God's institution, because that's God's way of saying let's multiply. Ke tlisa batho ba babedi together from different worlds, etc., etc. So yeah, I love love, and now that I'm married, I love marriage, and also I love it because I didn't get to witness it like karai.
Growing up.
So my aunts got married when I was already grown. And I could say, I could say why. Maybe they feared commitment, because commitment comes with sacrifices, compromise, and all of that. And as women, I don't know, it's more, I think men, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Men don't fear commitment as much as we do. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Or it depends on your upbringing. Did you see it? Some people love it and want it because Bible, when they've witnessed it. Nah, but I was taught it in church. I was taught it in small groups. My friends had grew up in families where there was a mom and dad. So it wasn't foreign, and I knew I wanted it. So because I desired it, it came, and I trusted God, and I prayed that, you know what, God, you took my mom, and the least you can do is plant me in a family where there's a mom and dad, or at least marriage. And fortunately enough, my aunts got married in homes where there's mom and dad.
Yeah.
And even though it was not me, but I still said, this is a chance for me to see lenyalo le jwang. So yeah, I did get married.
Yes, so like you're saying, you said men do not fear commitment like women. And I was just pondering on what you were saying, and I think maybe because it's just my thought that commitment, especially marriage commitment, I think it has so much more weight on the woman than it has on the man.
Yeah.
You know? The family, the nurturing, the household, the this, the that, where else the men, they're the men, you know, they're the providers. It's almost lighter than of a woman.
Lighter, that's true.
And I think also there's but they make it even worse.
Yeah.
Or everything in J.
Yeah.
I think they just make it worse, this other men. But anyway, you get married to your dear husband. And you start having your first child.
Yes. This was a year later. After it was nice, but COVID, it really took away a lot.
Did you get married in COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were not at the, were we at the peak? 2019. I think it fitlile 2019.
It fitlile 2020 March.
2020 March. Yes. So now already a letter was already sent home. Yeah. But it did happen after. But it saved me from costs.
Yeah.
Because we were a small...
Just a small intimate wedding.
But that was not me. Because I celebrate.
Morning.
Yes, that's me. So, but anyway, it happened.
Yeah.
It was after. So, a year later, then I got pregnant. 2021. Yeah. Because I was meant to give birth in 2022. Oh, pregnancy, it just back. 9 months.
What's working?
9 months is long, actually. It's almost
a year.
Yeah. And then we were excited. It was not planned. But I think we just said, let's take a chance, because we had already bought our new house. So we had moved into a new home, and it was big enough for us to say, it would be nice if we start you know when you are in a new marriage. and although we were in a relationship and we did premarital counsel, but now that we were in the actual marriage, we were like, now we're facing realities.
Yes.
I don't know if we rushed starting a family or not, but you can never put a time frame. Pregnancy. But we knew you wanted that at the time, because I was also feeling secure to say, wow, I have a husband. Yes. So yes, I got pregnant, and then I was due to deliver 2022. I get June.
Okay.
Between June and July, yeah. So and then I really don't know at what point things went wrong, but they did. And I was committed. We were both committed to making sure that I'm eating healthy. I'm getting rest, and also it was new to us.
Yeah.
The symptom tell everything. It's emotionally consuming. Actually, pregnancy, and you don't know what to do to feel better. The nausea but it brought us very close. Very, very close, because we were like, this is two of us nesting. Fine. And then fast forward to when I was in my late second trimester, 6 months, 25 weeks, 25 weeks, I start becoming unwell, but it was manageable. But I was seeing a doctor, and religiously, so I never missed appointments. And I did see a very good doctor because he was my gynae before.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was well versed, well experienced. I believed in him, in his work, and he's still practicing now. So, and then what yes, the blood pressure, but because we're not familiar, we don't have the education around the medical aspects of pregnancy.
Yeah.
I just thought sharp normal busy Google when you have feet,
Swollen.
that are swollen, stuff like that. So to a point where I was like, I was really comfortable, and I don't think this is normal. But I'll tell my aunts, I'll tell my friends, marabano ho normal.
Pregnancy.
Yeah. And it put me at ease. No, I'm deteriorating.
What was happening?
So I was swelling so much to a point where my ankles were locking. In a sense that, and I was still going to work, and I was traveling about 30 kilometers every day. So nekikwa, like needles, like in my feet, in my legs, and every time they are shiny. And nekia doctor, so that week where I went to the doctor, I actually need you to go on bed rest, mara you can still go to work, but once a week and whatnot. And my boss at the time, we were okay with it, and Kim Thomas said, but no, not right, man. Something is not right. So my vision, it was now starting to become foggy, like misty, until one morning, whereby that weekend my husband is not home. He went to Polokwane to bury his grandmother, very close grandmother that raised him as well. And Ari did don't stay alone. Let's call your friend to come sleep over for the weekend, and then Sunday kitoboa.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool. So we got my friend to come. She knocked off there. And then Friday, she came, and everything was going well. We were watching TV. I was eating well. And but every time I would eat, I would feel sleepy or more nauseous. And I was like, but these symptoms are supposed to have subsided second trimester.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was not the case. And then I was talking to my husband, how the swelling is becoming worse. I'm not wearing shoes anymore. My heels are sore when I'm standing. And I went in the kitchen to make food. My friend was still sleeping, but I woke her up and said, "Yo, girl, I'm seeing mist and it's a lot." And she was like, "Oh, I don't know anything about pregnancy. She's never been pregnant. Why is I doctoring?" And meanwhile, I'm also chatting to my husband. So my husband was at home. The aunt was there, who's a midwife. I'm moja. And the midwife called unalimang with my friend. She asked the friend to touch my legs, with her fingertips, and press. If you are leaving her a finger marks showing, that's not a good sign. Go take her to ER now. I'm texting my doctor. And that's the reality of medical doctors, unfortunately, especially those who also do surgeries. So we raya ER, then and I told my friend, let's go to my GP. It's just across the road. We went to my GP. Walking in, my GP was coming out from releasing another patient to take my file. Are you, mommy? You're not okay. Even how you're walking, I can tell you that you have preeclampsia from your feet. The way they were shiny, and he didn't even check me. We didn't even get in the room. He said, "Let's call the doctor now or the ambulance to cross you over back to unit care." Fine. I went. and I collapsed, and that was it. When I woke up, I was on the bed, and this is what as far as I can remember. My friend said, Yana, she was scared, and the doctor was like, just go back home and fetch clothes and bring them because she's not gonna go home. And she was confused because she was like, your husband is not there. So when they took me, obviously they rushed me to the maternity ward, also to take bloods, but and check all of those things that are supposed to be checked. But I man banky pillar for like 24 hours to be observed, but blood pressure is going up, but na niksi sabona niksi. And the doctor's like, we need her husband now and upulukan to consent so that we can go and do a C-section to relieve her, because the blood pressure is going up, it's not coming down. Then consent, husband, where is the husband? Pulukan. I don't know, because I was already in the maternity ward, but to bring you guys closer to what had happened, they reached him. His numbers were obviously on the file, and he said he drove with the midwife, the aunt, because that situation, right? They left the funeral
Immediately.
Saturday. He didn't bury the grandmother.
Oh my God.
He was shattered.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I didn't want to miss
my grandmother's burial.
And he was there with the preparations, ne? Shame. But anyway, ba fitla ke setse ke le sepetlele ba batla
Do you
signature.
want water?
Yes, please.
Can you please get water?
Yeah. Ba fitla and they're like, we just want a signature. What situation is also, we're going to theater. And he just signed. And he said he was numb.
First child, kamuke funerali.
So he was like, it didn't make sense. And now I have to also tell your family and everybody, because they saw how they rushed off, and then now they're wondering what Puse ujwang. And I didn't even know where I was gonna start, ne? But anyway, are ba gile theater ba etsa bantshangwana and all of that. And fortunate enough, my physician was present in the theater. Thank you so much.
What's about pregnancy? The pregnancy, the birth.
Yeah.
It's just God.
And I don't downplay the process itself. But anyway, so bantshangwana and the physician haba mita are the catheter. I write that urine is not. Oh my God. Yo. But anyway, for me, it was an out-of-body experience. So bandreaded. But this was when I was recovering.
Yeah.
Sure. And then the physician was like, no.
Like the water that is coming out of...
I write, kidneys are shutting down.
Oh, when?
Just, I think, few hours. That time, that baby weighed 400
grams
and 90. I think the size of a margarine. Rama. And my husband told me that, Barile, there's a heartbeat. So that child must go to an ICU. So fortunately enough, we were in a private hospital. So they did all they needed to do, right? And then the child was rushed to NICU, and the doctors that were there were administered. So Nakamo, and mind you, he's waiting outside the door.
Your husband?
Because he said he can't come in. But also they told him that situation, because you're not going to be okay.
I can imagine.
Yes. So, but Dr. Aryo, she's going to need dialysis, because this is not, because they were even changing the bag to see. But Habakwala Bayeta went to stay in ICU on the critical side.
Sure.
Because the doctor was like, we can't give them information as yet, but we need another doctor to come check, because the kidneys, if dieta so her blood, she needs blood transfusion, and the husband must consent. No, but this amchinwa dialysis go ICU so that I can but solve the kidney to save them. And I was breathing but honestly, like mucus a lot. And the doctor was like, yo, her lungs are building the mucus to protect themselves. She's having multiple organ failure.
Yeah.
So it was HELP syndrome, where your organs are just
Shutting down.
shutting down because of high blood. So even after they removed the baby, it was not going down. It was magically just going up, up. And I think they said because my body is not I'm not stable and I wasn't stabilizing. And they thought she lost blood because when they put me on the drip, they nearly did thinners to make the blood thin. So I gained conscious and woke up and I told them, my head is sore, can't tell, I'm having a stroke. Yeah.
Stroke.
And my entire left side was paralyzing. I was fitting in ICU and they were saying, please get a neurologist quickly. I think I could hear the voices, but I couldn't see because I was starting to, a fitting is actually dangerous because if you're fitting uncontrollably and they can't hold your body down, apparently you can go into cardiac because your heart is also pumping blood. So my husband, I guess NICU. The neurologist this blood in the brain is stuck. It's a clot, like an aneurysm. And this person might need a surgery again. We need your consent. I signed up for her because I was like, you guys have to do your best. And also because we need to save her. She's our patient. She's the one we know.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's prioritize her.
Yeah.
And the doctors were like, and she's young. Like
This
all
is
of
the first
this.
child. Like,
yes. So my husband said the neurologist came and he was like, yo. But they scan, but I get that the clot in the brain on the right side, and that's why I was paralyzed on the left side because the right side of the brain affects. Doctor, I can't risk my license
with this.
She's not stable. We cannot operate on an unstable. But doctor, Mana Shuka and ICU. What if that child makes it? Try. Ario, in my life of medical history, I never, Dr. Naito operator, would you tumor, would you car accident, this they
case.
were like, no. But my husband, Ario, we were praying, and Dr. Ari, tomorrow, and they were like, but she doesn't have enough hours, like it's a touch and go, stroke is dangerous, and they were like, it's in its preliminary, if that aneurysm it bursts, then she could be, So my husband said, eventually they did say, but these are the anesthesiologist and but you were already, it's 50-50. It's 50-50. Say ke wa moya or yo like to drunk ngwanula. If I what and we're young and only a year in the marriage and it was just like, why this start? But at the same time he kept thinking marriage vows are exactly that. Better for worse. So I went into theater 8 hours. They were operating. So I have a scar on the side. It's big. I'll show you after. They did a craniotomy. So they opened up my brain and washed that clot out, sucked and washed it. And then closed me, but put drains. Because I was only sitting like this. I could see people. I was swollen. But my husband said they still left that pipe. They said it's a drainer mate. I was like, and they were saying things like Akabana disabled, Akabana because they have to, because you consented for these possibilities.
Yes.
hey, Ario, come again, and I see between NICU, adult ICU, and you didn't look good. But even my scans, brain scans, everything, I couldn't believe it after. And doctor was like, yo, I get the checkup like now, currently. What is this you? But nararape, like, ish. So doctor was like, this girl, she's a walking miracle, because even that surgery to go in there, I can tell you she was already almost, because I had a short-term memory loss, everything. But the phone, munching the video to high, so let's bring back her memory, because people were coming in ICU, my family. Like, even my husband, I had shattered him.
You know the trauma that your husband
Yo.
it's just that men they will not
Yes.
necessarily speak, or they won't necessarily come to podcasts, but if you would just sit and speak about that experience
And what he saw. And then every day Nikita, but they were also coming but I had milk coming out of my breast, and I was like, but I'm still pregnant. Like, funny enough, I did remember that I was pregnant, but no the pain.
yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, Dr. Ari, guys, mutliseteng psychologist. And then psychologist a very humble man. Ari, I need them to go and show you the baby. Because I was like, my baby's still in here. Doctor Ari, guys, take the wheelchair. Take her
Show
to
her that you gave
NICU and to see the baby, because you are delaying her. And they took me the wheelchair. I was paralyzed, and they took me and they said, "This is the baby in the incubator."
Small.
I was like, "What? I've never seen a human being that small in my life." And they were like, "Mommy." And when I started to cry, they were like, take her back, because utabali decision, because she just had, and I was swollen, like, I can nearly hold this side. Because Dr. Nariu, and she has staples to close the skull, the skin, and then they had shaved my hair off on the one side. Like, I didn't look normal. Even when I would they would take me and bring the mirror, I was like, what? What happened? It was like really car accident and we're excited. But anyway, Kiduti ICU, and then Wana Uduti 52 days as well, go ICU from 490 grams. When she passed away, she gave in, the machine stopped, but worse, we saw it happen in our eyes. So when it happened, doctor, my husband begged, discharging her, recovery. I need her home. Linda, I was like, I want to go home. Like, hospitals are not a good environment. Worse, ICU. I remember someone passed away in the ICU as well, and people were just running. Yo, I was like, yo, what if I don't make it? And I think that's what took lives of people who had COVID as well. To be in hospital, and next day someone is gone. So, but the doctors ended up agreeing, but she must go to downstep. So I was starting to gain feeling on the other side. By the physiotherapist, by Judy Savanke, like, they worked on me. I felt like I was a car, but they were engineering me again. But she's fighting. The nurses, but we are also observing her at night. She's always reaching, always trying to talk. And the nurses were like, we were scared, because sometimes you'd go in deep sleep. Nothing. And funny enough, the psychologist Van recordile as well, like, but I said that I saw light, like, listen, in the room, and it was night, but it was light. There was so much light, and the doctor Are, she also spoke about her mom. She said her mom visited her in the psychology session, but I don't know. I didn't remember. So the doctor was like, if I'm not medically interpreting it, it also means that some way, somehow, she was supposed to go on the other side, and somehow maybe she just came back. But we can't say she died, but maybe she was supposed to, because the deep sleep that they were saying you were going into, you were not responding, even though the heart rate was showing that it's still beating and, you're set and stuff like that. But the psychologist was like, yo, I was actually a bit traumatized because I came to see a patient in ICU and I was trying to get you to talk. But fast forward to everything, get discharged, and then I was gaining my senses, and then the physiotherapist, my husband made sure the mom is there, and they were making food for me, so I had to go on a chronic medication to prevent the seizures, epilepsy, because they said get after effects of the surgery, and the baby had to stay in ICU. So the 52 days. So we were going, my husband said, we gotta go to hospital every day. Is that fine? And I said, I don't want to go to that place anymore. I was starting to feel, because I came in my home and I remembered. And the doctor said, yeah, obviously when the swelling goes down, Daddy, she will remember. Like, hanyan. But, ish. Yeah, but anyway, so I did start to remember. And we were going to the hospital. So one night they called at 3 a.m. and said, Daddy and Mommy, you must come to NIC. Like,
Can I go to now?
3 a.m. And I'm still recovering. And my husband said, yo, baby, let's wake up 6. Let's make sure we are in NICU. And when we got there, the baby, like the doctor declared, even a surgeon, a pediatric surgeon, she's distending. And when I looked at her, I was like, this baby has changed. She's just dark from what she was. Kanti, she was slowly giving in. So they were resuscitating and the machines. But because we had already known how those machines are being read, they were dropping drastically. So, and she gave in. And then when they were resuscitating, when they said time of death, blood came out of her nose, and she was so tiny, and in her ears as well. When they said that the cause of death was NEC, so she was growing, because when she passed away, she was 890.
Oh wow, she had grown.
She had grown a lot, and they tried from 400 to, and she was improving. So they were giving her milk through a tube. So I think they told me that her stomach the gut wasn't mature yet. So she perforated, so the so then it came out of her nose, and that was it. But we watched her live, yes. And they said you needed to be here because in some cases we get sued. We know to say one, but they were trying, but she was no longer. But she fought. I think she fought for a baby that small to get to almost 1 kg, and we were hopeful because I gave birth in March. I was due in June, and they were saying baby come April, baby as she's progressing, utabua, and that was the most horrific thing. Fast forward, we did a funeral. It was decent with Martin's funeral. It's a funeral parlor, and family came. And we that was closure for us. We have the grave there. We putting a tombstone now. It's a symbol, for us to say at least we have, And then I had to then go and book myself in a psychiatric hospital. I was going there, and I said I don't want to take my life because I was like, this. You guys are telling me it was an out of body experience. They telling me what this happened, and I'm just like yo every time because I didn't see myself. So they were like, yeah, here are the X-rays. This is what happened. Clinical psychologists are trying to show me and paint the picture, and I was just imagining. But slowly, as I was healing, I'm different, and I'm like, I just buried my child, so I wasn't grieving. I was not grieving baby because, sister promise, I was still trying to come to terms with the fact that I had a brain surgery. I was like, what is that? What is the brain surgery? Why would I have? How? I was not sick.
I'm okay. It was just one random Saturday.
But the doctor said you are brave because you fought. We saw you wanted to walk. You were fine. The child we buried, and then I booked myself in a psychiatric vista. Kibona, the best psychiatrist, that woman, a mom. She understood me. She heard me. I cried as much as I could. I stayed there at Vista. My husband was visiting. And at some point, I was like, I just want to go home. But I'm glad I booked myself. No one forced me. Because there's a perception about Vista psychiatric. It's not the case. In fact, I saw prominent figures there as well. People who wanted to deal with their mental health issues because mental health can actually like cause you to take your life, like from traumas, from grief, from abuse, from a lot of things. And I was like, wow, I'm in the right place. Not because the prominent figures were there, but because I saw many people, men and women, and we lived there. And because it's private healthcare, medical aids pay for these things. So I was like, thank God I did this and I wanted to do it. And the medical aid agreed because they were like, we saw claims. We saw what doctors were claiming for. And we were like, this is no small, So anyway, I started to feel like I was grieving properly now. I visit my daughter's grave. It's not far from our house. I go and put flowers on her birthdays but anyway, a year later, I was able to confidently say I want to try again. Even though doctors said you don't have to, there's no pressure, you can freeze your eggs, but time is also against me in terms of age. And also I'm now a high risk. But because I'm prayerful, I was like, it's not impossible. I can still conceive naturally and give birth and carry full term, and I did. Although I had an elective C-section and delivered a beautiful baby girl, and I was like, wow, God, and you're giving me a girl again, wow, but I was like, a human being cannot be replaced, but God knows when to wipe your tears and how to do it, and only He does it best. Because ukaya everywhere, you can take substance abuse to find healing, but I felt like the best place was in the Word of God. The best place was to go to church and testify and encourage other women, because I was like, I can't imagine another woman going through what I went through, but alone. Also, if they don't have private healthcare, they could have probably, yes. And I was like, let's not disregard. When I shared with women at church and even at the hospital, I go to ICUs and ICUs to visit moms that I don't even know, moms that have given birth prematurely, to encourage them, not necessarily with my story, but to say that I know that environment, it can break you daily, but don't give up on your child, because those babies need you to be strong and to fight as they fight. Because now I think also what took away my child was the fact that I was in a state whereby I was still
have control,
and that could have been God's way of wanting me to recover and to heal. It's not explainable, but I think in my understanding, there was going to be too much pain to bear. I know it doesn't make sense, but to me, I felt God just wanted me to heal, because physically, emotionally, besides losing her, she still stayed with me in hospital. And when I left hospital, God took her. So there was no longer a need for her to stay in hospital. That's how I
interpreted.
Yeah.
Sorry, mommy. I'm just going to let you relate your story about me.
So that's what it meant to me, and only my psychiatrist knows. I've never told anyone, but today, 3 years later, I can say that that's how I received it, and it's between me and God, because I carried that child. And in as much as she's gone, but she's at a better place, because those machines were also not
much.
they were too much. They were too much to see a child, in that state. I don't wish it on any mom, But I still say that big ups to doctors and nurses that were in that ICU and are still working in ICU year after year. They get to witness such things and they still stay and go back to their jobs and do it wholeheartedly. And even when there's babies that make it out, it's still a victory. Even that day, the doctor, the pediatrician, she held me and she said, Mommy, I tried. And I felt it because she really did. But deep down, I knew that it was just God.
Yeah.
And I said, it's okay. And she felt like she failed for the longest time. And now my baby, we see different doctors, but I just felt in my heart, let me go back to that pediatrician and introduce my now daughter to her. And she's also her secondary doctor, her secondary pediatrician. She's got a primary pediatrician at the hospital where I gave birth. So I had to change hospitals. You know why? There was too much trauma. I remembered corridors.
I can imagine.
I remembered even some of the nurses greet me. But also I went back and I went to thank the nurses that took care of me. I was pooping and peeing on the bed and they would let me and say, Mommy, it's fine. You can't walk. And they would say, Mommy, we can't move you. Even when you force us, what if you fall? We could lose our jobs. Like, they were like, Mommy, you're still paralyzed. But that's how optimistic I was to get off the bed. Even when I didn't want to go to the toilet, I'd ask them, like, I refused disability. And that's why I say it was by faith.
Yeah.
My faith got me off that bed. Downstep, there was no way I was going to recover. I don't look down on the facility, but my faith did not allow me to want to go there.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I will not recover. I wanted to recover in my home. And that's why I say, when I left the hospital, God decided that let this child leave this hospital as well, even if she's not going to her physical home, but she's at her spiritual home.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because maybe one day we'll meet, you know? So I will, when my daughter grows, I will take her to the grave to see where we buried her sister. And my husband, you know, I pray for him daily. And I know he's also healing. It's going to take a long time. But also, he's open. Like, we talk about this. And death of a child can bring people apart, especially married people.
Yeah.
So in our case, it brought us closer. And he encourages therapy a lot, in as much as a lot of men don't
Believe in therapy.
proudly, yes. But yeah, death. I have a friend who separated with their partner because they lost a child.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't experience that because it could have taken me back. Yeah.
Wow.
That's my story, and I will forever run with it and encourage women to, you know, to pull women out that have lost babies, or even if it's a miscarriage, even, you're still a mom. It doesn't change anything. You carried a seed. And when we buried my daughter, I said, I'm sowing a seed into the ground physically. And that seed today, I'm seeing it through the new baby. And she's not a replacement. She's a new and additional blessing. And that's why I say I'm a mom of two, not one. And I'll forever be. She's 16 months. She's such a blessing.
Oh, she's a small baby still.
Very small.
Yeah.
But you're keeping me on my tiptoes. Yeah. And I still do desire to have more. But that will also be all up to God.
Wow, mommy. Thank you so
I'm
much.
a testimony.
I tell you, my head it's painful. I think when you were talking about your head, like my head now is painful.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah. So
and to have you here say those things, it's God's grace.
Yeah.
Come and relate your story. You know.
I really believe so. So my scar, when people see it, they ask me when I'm not wearing.
Is it big? Do you mind sharing a picture and we put it here? Or no?
Now?
No.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Like on
I
the
don't
edit.
mind.
You don't mind the viewers seeing the scar?
I don't
Okay,
mind.
then you'll send it to Rebono or Neo.
To me, it's a beautiful scar because that's a scar of victory. Not just
100%,
pain, but it shows that God exists. It does. It's a beautiful scar. And my hair is growing.
Yeah.
I thought it wouldn't. It is growing, although it's not covering it. And I said it's fine.
Or it's not covering the scar.
It's not. It's not growing over where they had cut me, and that's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, because it's my
your story.
miracle story, and every story has a scar.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's my grace Scar. Great story. Thank
What
you
is
so
your
much.
child's name, the new one, the new baby?
My child's name ke Bokgoni. Bokgoni ba Modimo.
Wow.
The first child's name was Borolo
Oh,
because we saw the greatness of God. And we named her without knowing that all of these things,
we're gonna have.
because they had already taken her out and the birth certificate needed to be there. So my husband and I had decided the name long before we predicted or foreseen.
So Borolo.
Yeah, so we were like, this is Borolo ba Modimo, and her name will remain, precious to us.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Thank you for your bravery, Mami. Thank you
Yeah.
for not sitting with your story and letting it just be like you, like silence you. You know, as
Yeah.
women, you will most often not want to speak about it because you don't want to relive it or you don't want to, So it's
Yeah.
just bravery for you to.
Yeah.
And it's painful to see you cry and still relive those
Yeah,
moments,
yeah.
But I guess it's part of the healing.
It's part of the
journey.
healing,
Yeah.
and it's healthy.
And it's healthy.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to come and share my story on this platform. I really hope other women and dads
Yeah.
will take something from it.
We wish your husband all the best. Like, he went through it.
He
He
went
saw everything, like from the child to the mom.
Yeah.
It was just a lot for him.
He was sleeping in there. Nurses were telling me that we know this man.
And that time, he left the funeral at home. Like,
And he
that's
wasn't
just-
eating. He wasn't sleeping. And I wanted to make sure.
But wakaba right.
Yeah.
Do you have like a community or anywhere where people should follow you?
Yes, I do. So I'm available and accessible on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll share my page.
Because I know women will be in your DMs.
Yes, I have a Instagram page at Puseletso. I just recently joined the TikTok community for
Nice.
brand purposes because I'm
Yes.
starting to use my platform to influence. But I think this story is going to be literally my foundation, my
yeah.
cornerstone to pull more and
Yes.
more women.
Yes.
Not just following, but I want to be
Substance.
used as an example to say we've seen God do it for her. Yes, and yeah, also on X, I'll share the handles as
Yeah,
well.
we'll also share them here on the screen for people to
Yes,
see.
yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having
You're
me.
such a warrior. You know, when
Amen.
it comes to children and I listen to women speak about the death of their children, miscarriages, I'm like,
Sure.
I would not survive anything to do with my
Yeah,
children. I
yeah.
would not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo,
Sure.
It's a lot.
But you are here, such a warrior, victorious. Thank you so much, Mama.
Yeah.
Thank you. Guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Take this moment to hit the subscribe button, follow Basi, encourage her, and let her story encourage you as well. That after the loss of her child, she's having a beautiful child and she's going to still have more, you know. But that will remain her story for life.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mama.
Thank you.